Hi, Democrats. Today is Thursday, May 26th, and it's time for the Chair's Daily Live. Happy Thursday. All week, I have been talking about the senseless shooting that happened in Uvalde, Texas. And while I was talking about that, other news was happening, and I am going to get to the other news because there are other things that we need to be focused on, which I'm hoping will motivate us to vote. But just one last note, and I hope that it's the last note that I say about this senseless shooting in Uvalde. I was doing research because while I'm mad at a lot of our elected leaders, I do actually try and give them their due. When they do something that is good, when they say something is good, I try to acknowledge their humanity and try to make sure that people know about it. But I have to go looking for it, right? Because it doesn't naturally come. So as I was looking for some humanity, some compassion from the senators from our state. This is what I found.
This one 18-year-old is now going to wipe out gun ownership across the country is absolutely not acceptable for all the responsible gun owners that are out there.
At the end of the day, the issue here is not the firearm, it's the light. And that's what we should be focused on.
You know, inevitably, when there's a murder of this kind, you see politicians try to politicize it. You see Democrats and a lot of folks in the media whose immediate solution is to try to restrict constitutional rights of law-abiding citizens. That doesn't work. It's not effective. It doesn't prevent crime.
Oh, well, they'll blame guns for everything that's out there. Every time there's anything that comes up, they want to blame guns.
Yeah, 109 people killed every day by guns. Again, Uvalde AR-15, Buffalo AR-15, Boulder AR-15, Orlando AR-15, Parkland AR-15, Las Vegas AR-15, Aurora, Colorado AR-15, Sandy Hook AR-15, Waffle House AR-15, San Bernardino AR-15, Midland, Odessa AR-15, Poway Synagogue AR-15, Sutherland Springs AR-15, Tree of Life Synagogue AR-15. Let me tell you something. Again, those people that you just saw, they think you're stupid. They really do. And if you voted for them, they think you're really stupid.
That was on today's Morning Joe. And this is what I say every day. We have to know who our elected officials are. We have to know what they are out there in the world saying. I don't want to assume motives. I'm just going to go by what they said. So what Senator Lankford was on the ballot. What Senator Lankford said was, we're not going to let the actions of one 18-year-old who had an AR-15 supplant the rights of all people who own guns. It's not one 18-year-old with an AR-15. This is just a really quick list that somebody put together, in the overnight hours. I know that there are more, but this is a quick list, and I wanted to list the ones that you guys are all familiar with: Uvalde, Buffalo, Boulder, Las Vegas, the guy who shot up the whole concert, Aurora, California, Sandy Hook, the incident that we thought would end all of these incidences, Poway, Sutherland Springs. It's not one 18-year-old. It's not one 18-year-old with an AR-15. There is a trend. So what happens is there's a horrible mass murder. It covers all of our news. We talk about it all the time. And then we start talking about, let's not politicize it. And then we start saying it's not the gun. Maybe it's not the gun. But when you look at cause and effect, when you look at what is the common denominator is an AR-15. What would it hurt us? And here's the thing. I'm asking a question that I know the answer to because we've already had this happen. What would happen if we said, everyday citizens don't need assault rifles. Well, we know what would happen because we had that happen, and George W. Bush allowed for it to expire. But while there was a ban on non-military personnel having assault weapons, mass murders went down. And the moment that that was allowed to expire, they went up. And now they're just freaking out of control. Why can't we have the conversation? Okay, I just wanted to, I needed to put a fine point and remind folks that this isn't me making it political. This is me reminding you that it is political. That's it. It is political. But while all that was going on, and while we were distracted by those horrific deaths and that predictable outcome, our governor signed 2 egregious bills. He signed a bunch, but I want to talk about 2 egregious bills that he signed. He signed a bathroom bill that says, if your school allows a child to use the restroom of their identity, and the school decides that their identity is just based on what's on the birth certificate, but we know better and we should be better. But if your school allows a student to use the restroom of their known lived identity, and I guess you get one chance, but then it happens again, your school could lose funding. Your school could lose funding. So this bill was kind of a twofer, right? We get to defund education while attacking vulnerable LGBT youth. My question is, where is the value of life? How does this bill improve anyone's?
I'm going to jump in for Alicia while we solve a technical issue. But the second bill that she was about to present to you is the most horrific bill in the country when it comes to a woman's right to choose. And Alicia's back, so I'll give it back to her.
All righty. Don't know what happened, but who is this bill helping? And then the other bill that the governor signed that, oh my gosh, is the nation's most restrictive forced birth bill. I'm not real sure how we're going to be able to enforce the at the moment of fertilization. I don't know how we're going to be able to enforce that, but we'll see whatever intrusive bills that they pass to make this happen. This bill is going to incentivize folks to camp out and look for folks that they can do the bounty on. It's, again, whose life does this bill help? Who is this bill helping? Does it find jobs? Does it improve healthcare? I'm going to answer that one. No, it doesn't. Oklahoma has the highest maternity mortality rate among Black women in the nation. So I'm going to tell you, forcing folks to have babies against their will when they're in a group of folks that they know that their health may not be able to support it doesn't help healthcare, doesn't improve lives. But that's the path that we're on. Does it add jobs? Does it help healthcare? Does it help education in any way? It doesn't. Does it help our infrastructure? It doesn't, but that's a bill that the governor signed. Also, he can, be on the news claiming to be the most pro-life governor, and I refuse to acknowledge it. It is the most forced birth governor in the nation. Neither of these bills go towards improving the lives of Oklahoma. Another thing that no one's talking about, or that I haven't talked about, because maybe people are, is the report that just came out 4 days ago on May 22nd about the Southern Baptist Convention and the cover-up of sexual abuse that they've been participating in for years. There was first a report released in 2006 where everybody knew it was happening, and they made a conscious public decision to not talk about it, to cover it up, where people who were in leadership, even before the report came out, in leadership, who kept lists of sexual predators that were among the ranks of the Southern Baptist Conference. It was either preachers or people who were involved. They had a list of sexual abusers that they kept. They weren't turning it into the police. They weren't talking to families to keep our youth safe. They were just kind of keeping a list so they would know. And maybe it was so that they could protect their families. Meanwhile, the report lists over 700 ministers who were accused of sexual abuse. Over 700 ministers who were accused of sexual abuse. It's a 288-page report. It was released by Guidepost Solutions. I'm saying all this because whenever I drop one of these nuggets, someone always comes on and says, Alicia, where can we find this information? So Guidepost Solutions put out the report. The report was released on May 22nd. Why am I, the political girl, talking about this? The political girl, I'm talking about this because someone has to make sure that you guys are aware of what is happening in our midst. There are, 47,000 churches that are part of the Southern Baptist Convention, and it's not just in the South. There are 47,000 churches that are part of the Southern Baptist Convention, 16 million members. They cut churches off and kick churches out of their membership if they accept members of the LGBT community into their ranks. Meanwhile, they keep reports of sexual abusers. Feels like a little bit of hypocrisy to me, but that is what's going on. But why am I talking about it? And as you know, because I talk about politics. Every day, I come in here and I say, I need you to know who is on your ballot. I need you to research who is on your ballot and vote your values. Vote your values. Don't just believe the little mailer card that you get in the mail, because they get to craft what goes on that little mailer card. We need to know who is on. We need to do research. I'm talking about the Southern Baptist Convention because there is a Senate candidate that is on the ballot who was a member in the Southern Baptist Convention, who has to be aware. I'm not a member. I was aware. I've heard ad nauseum about the alleged, which now we're finding out, not so much alleged as in factual sexual abuse that happened at Falls Creek. I am not here to any candidate of being involved in sexual abuse. Be very clear. I am not accusing a candidate of being involved, and I'm not suggesting it, hinting, inferring, any of that any candidate is involved in the sexual abuse. But my question is, if you know that it is happening, if you are part of the leadership and you know it's happening, how can you continue to associate with it? And do we want to vote for someone who would? That's the question that I ask of you. There is a there's a candidate for Senate, a sitting senator, that is on the ballot right now, who is part of leadership, who worked at one of the camps, who had to know that this was going on, because I'm not a member. I knew what was going on. If you can hear me, you probably knew what was going on. How do you stay associated with something like that? How do you not blow the whistle? How do you not tell people I am leaving and this is why I'm leaving? And I agree, Nancy, it is failure to protect. I struggle with folks who profess themselves to be pro-life, who will stand by while children are being harmed. It's your vote. You vote for who you want to vote for, but I want to be clear. It's very important that you research who's on the ballot. And you don't have to take my word for it. Go do the research. Don't take my word for it. Go do the 703 known victims. And when they released the report on Friday, more people stepped up. 703 known victims. It's a 288-page report. What I will say at this moment, the leadership of the Southern Baptist Conference has come out vocally in writing, on video, stating that he wants to be transparent, that they are going to work to root this out of the church. Look, I want to tell the whole story as much as I know of the story. But I encourage you guys that it's not just enough to vote for the name you recognize. Vote for the name who will back your values. Vote for who will back your values, because we've ended up in a place where it doesn't look like we have values. So vote for who will back your values. So this is my point. Request your absentee ballot so you can do the research, and make sure that you show up. The election is on June 28th. You have until June 3rd to be registered in order to participate. So if you're not registered and you're just kind of doing your research, you have until next Friday to get registered. And don't wait till the last minute, and don't go to a tag office at 5 o'clock on Friday. Do it now. You can go online and request it. You can go to your county election board, but register now. Get your folks registered now so that their registration will be processed in time, which is June 3rd, so that they can participate in the election on June 28th. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you tomorrow at 4:15.